Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Well, Stephen, thank you for being here. I'm very, very, very excited to be the host. And how are you doing today?
My pleasure. I'm great. And yourself?
Can't complain, it was quite a day here. The program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? And how did you know that this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living, please.
I run my family business. So the core purpose of our business is to match the right people with the right careers. So we have a number of ways that we do that. We do career guidance for individuals. So we have a program that anybody can take, that can run down through our series of assessments, and we'll give you a highly personalized list of 16 careers that are unique to you, your unique mix of interests and abilities. We also do selection for companies, where we help companies to hire to get the right people based on that candidate's unique mix of personalities and abilities, or personality and abilities. And we also do video training to do well in interviews for people who are looking to get that job. And I also help family businesses with their succession planning. So we have a couple of things that we do, but it all falls under the same core purpose of matching the right people with the right career.
That's pretty interesting. Not to mention, it's next to impossible to do something like that without being people's person. Because if you're folk, there are folks that are strictly into technology and stuff like that. Don't really pay much attention to people, but if you weren't a people's person, I don't think you would have been able to do what you do and be happy with doing it.
Well, probably not, but I like talking to people.
Indeed. Second question is, how did you get there? Were you walking on the street one day, you and your family, and you decided to have a family business, or something else happened?
So no, I grew up in a family. I grew up in two family businesses. We
Nice.
had an English language school, which I took over. I bought like 12 years ago. And then this business, which is the psychometrics, the career guidance program, the business, I bought that, 5-6 years ago now. So we sold the language school just before COVID to focus on this business. So I've been involved in this ever since. But my interest is marketing, communications, and helping people to grow, to help them aspire to a better future and empowering them to get there. So the language school served a certain part of that for a long time, and now this serves a different part of that, but the main drive is still the same.
So that's a pretty solid story. And the third question will take a little bit longer, and I'm really happy to have you here because as a man involved in this, I'm sure you have a lot to say. Third question is, how did you know that this was the way to go? And the reason I'm asking, I'm pretty sure you have the same situation around you here. People tend to go to colleges and universities, and they don't really know why they're there. They have this stigma that once you have the diploma, life would be much easier. And sometimes is, and a lot of times definitely isn't. And I'm not against colleges and academia in general. I have a bachelor, master's degree. I'm about to start a PhD this September. So I'm definitely not against this institution. I'm just highlighting the fact that people often don't know themselves, and it's next to impossible. And once you graduate, because it's not really that difficult to graduate a university these days. And once you graduate, you start doing a job that's not really for you, and that makes you unhappy. That makes you miserable, and you cannot have a successful and clear life if you're a miserable person most of the time. At least this is what I believe. Of course, I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. And this is why I'd like, folks like you who have a lot to share, to give their 2 cents about this, because, fairness, it's quite an issue and quite a problem. And truth be told, I think it's easily fixable. So in your case, how did you know that this was the way to go? Because family business or not, if this wasn't for you, you would have never done it. And the reason I'm saying it is because I'm one of the few people from my family that isn't a doctor. You'd be insane to go to me for health advice because I'm just not that kind of a guy. So it really has to be for you. So could you tell us, how did you know this was the way to go? share a couple of examples if possible, of course.
Yeah, so I kind of always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur from like primary school, from like 8, 9 years of age. I was always doing things. My first kind of business venture as such was drawing comic books and
Nice.
then photocopying them using, we had a photocopier at home because we had the home office. So it was, I could photocopy and then I would sell them in school.
Pretty good.
Now I would sell them for 5 cents in school, but it probably cost about 20 to 25 cents to photocopy them all the things, but I wasn't paying for the raw file, the raw supplies. No, thankfully my grasp of economics has improved since then, but I was always doing stuff like this. I knew, like, when I was working for other people, I kind of knew I wouldn't be a good employee. And now, like, I've always known I wanted to run my own business. So I've been an entrepreneur really since I was a kid. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think for me, the worst thing that you can have somebody do is force them to be in a job that they hate doing, because you're going to spend the majority of your time doing this, the majority of your life doing this job. You're going to be in work longer than you've been in college, longer than you've been in school. In many cases, you're going to spend more time in your work than you will with your family. You'll spend more time, like, so you should be doing something that you're enjoying, that you actually feel that you're benefiting from. Which is it's a big part of our business. And when we do career guidance, we help people find the right careers for them. When I talk to people in schools, what I find a lot of the time, and it's well-meaning advice, but what a lot of people will do is tell you or say to a student, or what subjects do you enjoy doing? Right, you should study something along the lines of that, with no regard to what they're going to do when they come out the other side of college or university. So what I tell people is, I'm not really interested in the next 4 to 5 years of your academic career. I'm interested in the next 40 to 50 years of your actual career. What's a career that you're going to find fulfilling and rewarding? How can we help you reverse engineer that future back to today? What do we need to be looking at? What courses, what subjects, what moves, what internships, what do we need to do? And we find students who are earlier on their best career path end up being more successful, because they learn more, they are engaged more, they grow more than people. I mean, you can still absolutely change and pivot your career halfway through your career to find something that you're passionate about. Usually people have either fallen into the trap of, well, everybody says I should be an engineer, or everybody says I should go into medicine, or everybody says I should do the same as my father did or my mother did or something like that, and I'd be happy. And they end up being miserable for 10 years. They can become very successful because they have what it takes to do it, but they're not fulfilled, they're not happy. And the worst time is when they become successful in that field and they're making money, but they feel trapped. They can't get out because they can't make that leap because of all of the intrinsic, I suppose, the opinions of other people around them. So as it happens, I've just written an ebook. I'm going to build it into a bigger book, an actual like soft book. But it's called
if you have a link of the book, feel free to send it to me. I'll put the link in the description below.
So the link is yournextcareer.com. And the ebook will be available there probably from next week. I'm just with editing it down at the moment, but it's all about this idea of when we get in anywhere from our kind of mid-20s to mid-50s, we see this huge cohort of people who have been in a career in something that they'd studied in college because either they thought they were going to enjoy it, or they thought that the job was something else, or they were pressured into doing it, or they thought that they were told that, like, this is the way to be successful or whatever. And they just are miserable and they need to change careers. So we've put together a free ebook for people to be able to take the things that they've learned in that career and pivot it to something that is going to make them happier and more fulfilled. And we see this all the time with people who who take dramatic swings from something very technical, data driven, to something much more people driven, for example. Or you can have people who are just like, look, I really don't like this industry. I want to move into another industry. I want to move something else. And there are lots of transferable skills that we can take with us to be able to be successful and to be happier doing that. So that all that information is going to be in there. But I absolutely agree with you. I think the best thing that we can do for people's well-being is to give them the tools and the resource and information for them to be able to pick the right career for them to spend their time productively in a rewarding environment.
I've noticed something else, and I believe I'm not alone here. The world is way too dynamic. Even now, even after COVID, it's still way too dynamic. And I believe that when people go on this wrong path, when they just have to do it because of somebody's opinion, because of how they thought and this and that, and because of this dynamic environment we live in, we don't have enough time to stop for a while, to slow down, to look at ourselves and be like, hey, you know what, this isn't for me. And I think that COVID, of course, it was a disaster, but in all fairness, it had its positive sides because it slowed us down a little bit so that we can check ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
At least this is what I've noticed, of course.
No, I think you're right. I mean, people, they get caught in the treadmill of, right, well, I now have made the promotions in this industry or this job, but I don't really like it, but I'm making good money. I'm living in a nice house. I'm paying off my car. I'm paying off my wife's car. I'm paying off a couple of holidays a year. I'm doing this and the other. I've got the good life, but really, like from the outside, I have the good life, but me, I'm miserable. I hate it. I hate doing this. I
Not to mention that
I don't even know what I want to be about.
Yeah, and
Sorry?
that hate actually transfers to bad habits. Like, I don't want to specify, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and it leads to things that are not in our own best interests, and ways of being able to try and alleviate that pressure and that stress. But what I think happens, so you're right, COVID allowed us to kind of sit down for a bit and forced us to be in one place, not running around all the time, to really start to figure out, well, do I really want this? Do I really want to be doing this? And I think what happens is people in their 30s and 40s, and especially if you've got this extra pile of work, but if you're getting married and you've kids and you've all of these myriad of things that you're trying to juggle, you get burnt out and you have a bit of a collapse. And that's when you have this breaking point of going, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm miserable. I'm whatever. I'm arguing. I'm this, that, and the other. And that then can be a catalyst for people to start going, okay, I need to make a change. I need to do something different. And for some people, it isn't, they don't even realize, if they've been in an industry their whole time and they feel negative about it, but they don't like it. They just feel that that's what all jobs are like, or all careers are like. So it doesn't, like, work is something to be endured as opposed to something that you can enjoy. I mean, you're doing it to get paid, but you can, in our database of careers that we drive people towards. So we have 1,269 different careers that exist in the world. I mean, there's at least 10 of them that you're going to enjoy doing that exist in the world. And then how do you go about getting into those? That's what we can help you with. That program, by the way, is called Career Fit, careerfit.com.
You can send me all of the links. All of them will be below.
Perfect. But it allows people to do exactly what you're talking about, to figure out what are the things based on my unique mix of things that I'm interested in, drivers that I have, my verbal skills, my numerical skills, my abstract reasoning skills. What are the things that I would enjoy doing? And we have a description for each of those careers, so you can really get to understand them and to go, actually, that sounds amazing. How do I get into that? And it might require taking a step back. It might require going back and retraining in something else. It might require saying, okay, I'm a VP of something. I need to come down and be an associate or an executive at something to work my way back up again. But it's in a path that's more aligned with who you are and what's going to make you happy.
I really love when you said that it requires, excuse me, to take a step back, because because I actually had that example a few years ago. I think 5-6 years ago. I was working at a company here, and there was this guy. He wasn't stupid. You know, you can tell when somebody's stupid. He wasn't, but he just didn't do the job. And the KPI was actually mutual, so it what he did wrong affected me as well. One afternoon, I caught him in the kitchen. I said, "Listen, what's going on here? You can't just mess it up like that because it's affecting me, which is, not fair." They're like, "Well, I hate this place." And I will, leave if you don't like it. There are plenty of jobs here. So I can't leave because my mother will be disappointed with me. You need, so I'm not, now I'm 32. I guess I was like 28, 20 something when that happened. I said, we're grown men. What are you talking about? He said, all he wanted was to be a technician somewhere. But, because it was a pretty big company, it was a pretty big place, worldwide known. And his mama had to run around telling people that her son works over there. And he was really miserable. And we talked about, I said, listen, if you want to be a technician, you can just find something. 6 months later, he actually left the company, and for 4 months, he was going to courses about how to be an elevator technician. And now I haven't spoken to him in 2 or 3 years now since COVID. But before that, he was actually pretty good, pretty happy, and the payment was pretty solid as well. So
very good.
Yeah, definitely. But he had to start from intern.
Yeah, and this is true. I mean, when we're starting out, we have to start low. When we're changing careers, sometimes there are a lot of transferable skills that we can take. So if we don't need to retrain, we just need to move industries or step up a little bit or change a little bit our role from business development to marketing, or from sales to operations or something like that requires more of a mindset shift. Then you can take everything you've learned before, all of the processes that you've learned before. You don't need to retrain other than the on-the-job training. But for some, if you're dramatically changing careers, then you might need to do some kind of a night course, go to college for a year, do a part-time course for 2 years or something like that. But it is going to require a little bit of pain now, but over the next 20, 30 years, you're going to be infinitely happier.
Yeah, it's quite rewarding. And the last segment, Stephen, you've been around, you've seen a lot of things. If you can give an advice.
It's the nicest way anyone's ever called me old. Thank you.
I meant experience, dear Lord. No, definitely not what I meant. You clearly been around. You know a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Can you give an advice to the folks that are either in this period, either trying to find a new career, right now starting a career or something like that? What was the best advice you'd be able to give?
The best advice that I could give you is spend a bit of time on understanding yourself. What do you actually want? What do you want to do? What are you good at? What are you not good at? Because nobody's good at everything. Even the people who are good at lots of things are actually amazing at 2 or 3 things and good at other things. What are the things you're amazing at? What are the things that, whether you believe they're gifts, whether you believe they're inherent nature, nurture, whatever argument that you think of, what are you great at? What do you enjoy doing? And then what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? Then you can start going through it. There's lots of ways you can do this. You can use tests like ours to shortcut that a little bit, where we can give you the list of things to start looking at. Or you can go off and start doing research. You can start looking at the different careers that exist. Start Googling. I mean, you can go down all kinds of rabbit holes and take hours and hours and hours. But start researching the things that sound interesting to you, the industries that sound appealing to you. List down your attributes. What are you good at? What are you not so good at? What do you like doing? What do you not like doing? So then looking at the things that you like doing and that you're good at, and what industries are those in demand for? Or what areas, so I did with a client recently. We did the career fit profile on him, and he got logistics manager and Formula One team manager or team executive. I can't remember the exact title, but it was in Formula One. It was race car driving.
Yeah.
And he said, actually, that sounds amazing. So he then started applying to the company that does the logistics for all the Formula One cars, because he loves Formula One driving. He loves the sport. He loves everything about it. And he really likes the process of logistics, checking stuff off, making sure that everything gets from point A to point B and everything is looked after in between. So it hadn't really dawned on him before that this was an industry that hires people. I mean, everything that exists in the world has a chain somewhere. So where you can make your biggest impact and enjoy what you're doing in that chain is up to you. So that kind of stuff, I think, is vitally important. Being self-aware, knowing your strengths, your limitations, writing all that stuff down. And it does take work. It's not something you just kind of go, okay, I'll do that. So writing it down, being able to build out those lists and build out those trends and combined factors to see what it is that you want to do.
Absolutely. And being self-aware is probably the best thing you can do. Once you're self-aware, you have like different view for the world. So I completely agree. With that said, Stephen, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the wisdom, and wish you well. And the links will be in the description below.
My pleasure. Thanks a million for having me.
Right on. Bye, sir. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.